I think it was his uncle named Philo. And what Philo did, he wrote a book, and he had a philosophy where they merged, because Alexander Tiberius, Julius Tiberius, right, Alexander, they were Jews, right? But they were Hellenized Jews, meaning they were living among the Greeks. And what his uncle did, I believe it was his uncle, his cousin, he took the laws and statutes of the scriptures, which is Hebrew, but he merged them with the Greek philosophy. So they had a mixture of the Greek philosophies and the Hebrew philosophies. So you guys over here in America, you read the book and you keep the fringes and all that, but you still have American philosophy in you mixed with this.
That's right.
That's why when that whole rape thing comes up, you go crazy because you've been in this land too long.
Yeah, that's right.
And you got two different philosophies in your mind. You still got that American way.
That's right.
Them committed guys, after they have a debate, you know where they go to? They go to a diner. They don't go to no African restaurant.
That's right.
They wouldn't know what to order. I'm dead serious. They wouldn't know what to order.
That's right.
Watch them after they debate. They go to a restaurant. They'll go to a regular restaurant and eat American food because they don't know how to eat African food.
Yep, steak and cheese.
Yep.
Barbecue chicken and shit. Macaroni and cheese.
Man.
Yeah, it's black food.
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead, read all that.
Okay.
They'll eat some soul food.
Yeah.
Thinking that it's African. Ain't nothing African about no goddamn soul food, man. That's the shit that the master gave you that you spiced up.
That's right. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, they have born. So
that right there tells you that you can have more than one wife. So what in the hell is Nate talking about? Out of one side of his mouth saying, keep the laws, and out of the other side of his mouth is saying, you going off because you got more than one wife. We're reading it right now.
That's right.
Hey, people are going to wake up to these guys. People see, a lot of people that hate us, even them scoffers scoff, but you know what? In the back of their mind, they say, no, these guys do have the truth. But I'm just mad at them. I'm just going, And like my man Baloo, he knows that we're the men of the Lord, but he got so much pride and hate in him, he keeps coming against us, man.
That's why he drove by it at one time.
That's right.
And he ran the light. Simple ass nigga ran the light. We know the two verses, right? And he runs the light.
He's a clown.
Go ahead.
It says they have born them children, both the beloved and the hated. And if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated,
what?
Which is indeed the firstborn.
What?
But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he hath, for he is the beginning of his strength. You know, you hear that going back to Genesis the 49th chapter with Reuben. Okay, Reuben, that's what the scripture said about Reuben. They were the beginning of Jacob's strength, because that's what your firstborn is. You know, and you know about Reubenites, man, we were warriors, man.
That's right.
I mean, the whole nation is warriors. You know, but your firstborn, that's what he represents, your strength, man. So that's why you can't, that's the law, that's what happens, man. Okay, don't go no child support or none of that bullshit, man.
That's wicked.
All right? His mother doesn't get, and it didn't say his mother gets it. It says it goes to the son. All right? Because he carries on your name.
Well, like Apostle Tahar said, like these guys, they call us deadbeats. Yeah, deadbeats. Y'all take care of their kids. First of all, how the fuck you know what we take care of our kids?
You don't know what we did.
But secondly, that's that American philosophy again. That's that American, because the white man, that's Esau. You a deadbeat if you don't take care of your kids.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Wait a minute, the Rothschilds don't take care of their kids.
Yeah.
We're all Rothschilds' kids. They ain't taking care of us. Right?
Yeah.
So-called Jews financed the slave trade. They brought Jake over here. Are they really taking care of Jake? So who the hell is he to call somebody a deadbeat?
Yeah.
He's the ultimate deadbeat.
Gun. After slavery, they were supposed to
they're
set
supposed
Jake
to
up.
take care of us because we're in their hands.
We're in their hands.
That's right.
They're taking care of us.
40 acres and a mule or whatever it is. Jake never got that.
The children are owned by the state.
Yeah.
That's why you get a social security number and all that. So, and then they make you pay child support for your children. Those are not your children, man.
Yep.
Yeah, we all have.
That's why you got to go to a public school system.
We all have birth certificates. That means we're owned by the bankers. Are they taking care of us? So who's the ultimate deadbeat? The goddamn bankers, man.
Yeah, because we're all, when you go to prison, it's up to the prison system to take care of you, man. They got to feed you the three hots and cots, the old saying goes.
Yeah.
Because you're bonded unto them. And a good scripture to leave this on is Jeremiah 30, verse 7.
Yeah. They're supposed to take care of your medical. You get sick in there, they're supposed to take care of you. They have doctors in the prison system.
That's why if you can't afford a doctor, they give you a runaround. I remember as a child, they used to have white men that was about 67 years old. They used to wear the white shirt and black pants, and they had the black leather bag, and they used to go from house to house, and they would check the whole house, and they would check the children, you know, take the temperature and all that, and then they would give you a lollipop. I remember that, man. And they used to come around like maybe once every couple of months. I remember that. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it.
So when all hell start breaking loose, you want to look forward to that, because as soon as that happens, the quicker everything's going to come to that end result, that end game. Go ahead.
Right. It says, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck.
Now we have, back in slavery, we had a physical yoke. Now we have a legal yoke on us. We're bound by them by paper, social security number, all these adhesion. When you go get a driver's license, it's not an application, it's an adhesion contract. All right? Go ahead.
Hey, they show
that means you have to adhere to what the contract is saying.
Yep.
You ever read that contract? At the end of that license or application, it says, right when you sign your name, it says you are bound to obey all the laws of the VTL, which is the vehicle and traffic laws. Because we used to study law, man.
Oh yeah.
We used to show the judges the law. You know? Go ahead.
Yep. It says that I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds.
Now the word bond is something that bounds you, right? In a legal sense, the word bond is paper, a contract.
And that birth certificate, that's the first bond.
Yep.
And all, like the Apostle Elder said, all those other adhesion contracts
Social Security
bounds you to the state, which is owned by the so-called
Yeah,
white.
you sign a number of different contracts, man.
Social Security.
Social Security is the main one, man, because you get that number. Now Floyd Mayweather, he was bonded under what's the so-called Jew, Bob Arum, and he wanted to get out of the contract, and I believe it was I think it was $700,000. His contract was for sale for $700,000. So what did Floyd have to do? Because Aaron's number one guy was De La Hoya, and Floyd was under him, and Aaron made it that way. He said, you're not going to be on that level, and he hated that. So he said the only way you can get up over De La Hoya is if you get out that contract. So he said, what's the price of my contract? He said $700,000. Floyd had been a millionaire since he was like 20 years old. He said in an interview, he said, when I was like 20 years old, I was already a millionaire. So you know what he did? Because he hated that whole setup, he gave him the $700,000, and he said, okay, what did he do? He redeemed himself. He brought himself back. So technically, he was in slavery. And what did he do after that? He set up a fight to fight De La Hoya, and that was the biggest pay-per-view draw in history. Well, that was the second. The first one is the one with Pacquiao. Yeah. So when he bought himself out of that contract, he made $500 million.
He made the money back.
Yeah,
he made the money. You're going to make the money back.
Great investment. Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of guys that this happened to Andre Ward, and it also happened to Mikey Garcia. If y'all know about boxing, Mikey Garcia hadn't boxed in a couple of years because he was bound under contract. I believe it was under Bob Arum. It could have been Bob Arum. I can look it up. But anyway, until they negotiated that contract, now he can fight. The same thing happened with Andre Ward. He was bound by the contract. So that's what the word bond means. Read it again.
Yep. It says, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds.
Break them contracts. Go ahead.
And strangers shall no more serve themselves of him.
And strangers shall no longer use us. Because they're using us based upon them bonds. Them illegal adhesion contracts, man.
Goes back to what we had said earlier about if somebody gets killed, or Jake kills another Jake, they just bought his debt. Because each person owes a debt to the bankers via the what do you call it?
If you can pay that debt, you're free. You're a free man. You can get rid of that Social Security. There's ways to get out of Social Security, but if you want to get rid of it quick, you can buy your way and be a free man. Because none of you are free. You're bound by the system, man.
We're all in prison because we all have numbers. Like in prison, they give you a number. So we with Social Security. So that means we're in prison because we're just a number.
When a police officer arrests you and they book you, the police officer has their own ID, their own like tax ID. All right, because I seen it. It'll say tax, but it'll say sometimes say tax ID number. You know. Because everything is about a money transaction, you know?
I think even on a ticket, they have the tax ID number.
Right, exactly.
You have
exactly.
to put it on
Yep,
there.
yep.
The birth certificate is printed on banknote paper. It's the same paper that they use to make the so-called money. Check that out.
So you're bound. You're legally bound.
Right, it says, and strangers shall serve no more, the strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve the Lord their power and David their king.
There it goes. David their king. So the Most High is going to set up, and David is not Yahushua, or not the Messiah. David is the actual King David that ruled on the throne, and he's going to come back into power, and that signifies the two kingdoms coming back together, the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. All right?
And it also goes into reincarnation. Because at this point, King David, you know?
Which Alpha and Omega Ministries don't know nothing about that.
That's right. That's
Really,
right.
Yahushua is coming to straight up liberate us from the bankers. And at the same time, the bankers are going to be the first ones in slavery.
That's right.
And they're not going to die because they got to pay their debt.
You got to pay their debt.
All right, they're not just going to get off that easy and just die. We're going to preserve them, so we can beat the shit out of them, man.
Hey,
All
in 1 hour, everything the bankers have, in 1 hour they're going to lose it. 1 hour.
And the beautiful thing is they know that, man.
They know it.
They know all about all the prophecies. They know who the 12 tribes of Israel are. They know who the tribes are.
Yes.
All right, and they know that. See this meeting right here? This is scaring the hell. About 4 crackers came by and listened, and I looked and they got down the street, man, because they're starting to run scared right now. Because this is a spiritual battle, man. This ain't no physical battle.
Completely.
Right. It said, in David their king, whom I will raise up unto them.
And David is King Marshall. That's David. David.
Yep.
The
I'm
king.
gonna say it this way. Well, prove it. Do you have? No, we don't have evidence.
That's
We're
right.
doing it based upon faith.
Faith. Based
Right?
upon faith.
As a matter of
We
fact,
heard them say it in One West, and we believed it, man.
as a
So
matter
it's
of
based
yeah.
upon faith.
Hey, I know this much. Somebody got to be him.
Yeah.
A man's gonna stand up. We believe that that's him.
And the scriptures do say the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophets,
That's right.
which is reincarnation again.
He came up under Abba. So if you question whether he's a man of the Lord, then you got to question whether Abba is a man of the Lord, and question whether Abba is Elijah. And it said, "Behold, I will give you Elijah the prophet before the great and dreadful day of the Lord." So who's that? There's got to be an Abba, Elijah coming back.
That's right.
And then Yahushua broke it down and he came back 2 times. He came back as John, because Yahushua said that in Matthew 17. Matter of fact, go to that. Go right to the point, man.
I remember when we used to teach out 44th and Broadway, one time it seemed like the whole police force came, and they came on horses, and they surrounded the camp like a circle.
Well, they used to do that on the regular.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I remember I was out there that day, and it was like the weirdest thing, man. We were totally surrounded. Now this was years ago.
Yeah,
So
better
this
than Holland.
is definitely the truth. This is, and then there was the time I wasn't there, but I think it was Elder Ariah told the story of how that stretch limousine came up. A couple of guys jumped out. They looking at the signs and shit. Then one of the guys said, "We paid billions of dollars for you not to. How did you find this out?" Then they jumped back in the limo and sped away. Those guys had to be.
That was the early '80s, like '83,
Those guys,
'82.
they had to be part of the Illuminati or part of the secret society. And the school up in One West, they used to always come to the school, try to buy the school off.
I remember one guy from the Illuminati that came. Yeah.
Like you said, man, like the internet really brought this shoe out, you know what I'm saying? And like you and Trey Rockefeller said, that the internet should have never been invented, man.
That's
what
right.
I said.
That's right.
Matthew chapter 17, verse 10. And his disciples asked him, saying, why didn't say the scribes that Elijah must first come?
Now to show you that back then, the disciples were simple. Yeah, I said it. The disciples were simple back then. Because he had explained it to them in Matthew the 11th chapter. Watch how many videos. Oh, said that the disciples are simple.
First he said James was.
First he said James went off. And James did go off. I like messing with them guys, man. Hey, you know, John the Baptist went off. The great John the Baptist, you know how he went off? Because the people asked him, are you Elijah the prophet? And he said no. Was he Elijah the prophet? Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
Why did he say no? Because he didn't know.
Don't remember the former
He
state.
questioned when the Messiah came, which was his own cousin. He questioned whether this guy was a guy. Is this the guy? Is this the one, or should we look for another? So he went off again. So the apostles go off every once in a while.
Great men are not always.
Great men are not. That's why it's in there, Joe. Great men are not always wise.
You know, Peter went off. That's an
Oh,
example.
Peter went off.
Paul cursed him out.
Peter went off a bunch of times.
Right, he's a head disciple or head apostle. Peter.
Verse 11. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall first come and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elijah is come.
What do you mean? Read that again.
Elias truly shall first come and restore all things.
What did Yahushua mean? Yahushua mean by that? Read that again.
Elias
Well,
truly.
the disciples asked a question. They said that he's Elijah. What's this all about?
Yeah.
Is it
Warlocks
true?
out of him.
Go ahead, read.
And Yahushua answered and said unto them,
There's no one-
Elijah truly shall first come.
So what did Yahushua? Forget him. What did Yahushua mean by that? Huh?
That's right.
What do you mean by that? I'm asking y'all. What do you mean by that? Read it again.
And Yahushua answered and said, Elijah truly shall first come.
What did Yahushua mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Are we talking then or now? Are you referring to then or now? Are you referring to when
I'm talking about, let's say we in a time machine and we back there and we right in the midst of the Lord. Read it, huh?
He's talking about John the Baptist.
No. Read again.
Right. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall first come and restore all things.
Bring it back to our nationality.
No, but who is it talking about? It's talking about Abba. So Yahushua is talking about now in our time. Let's read it again.
Right. It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall first come and restore all things.
He was quoting Malachi. Go ahead.
But I say unto you that Elias is come already. And they
No, he is going to come, but I'm going to tell you something. He came already. So how many times was Elijah going to come? 2 times. Read on.
and they knew him not,
When he was John. Go ahead.
but have done unto him whatsoever they listed.
They got his head chopped off. Go ahead.
Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the
Then
Baptist.
they understood it. Now, if you go back to Matthew 11, he already explained it, and they still didn't get it. Then he had to come back, and then everything came together. Okay?
You want that Matthew 11?
Yeah, give me that. Give me that.
Okay,
Then we're
come.
going to close on that.
Matthew 11 and 14 or 13. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if ye will receive it, this is Elias which was for to come. He that he that have ears to hear, let him hear.
And at that time, they didn't understand it. That's why you say it again in the 17th chapter. All right? So anyway, with that, we're going to close. We normally close at 9, but it was like 9:30. So,
Yeah.
Hey, but it was the spirit, man.
Spirit of
You
the
know, it
Lord.
was the spirit. But anyway, let's line up. We out of
All right,
here.
come on, brothers.
Where's my water?